So, in case you only follow mainstream media or you've been living under a rock, I need to tell you what's been going on in the US. There was a colossal chemical spill in Ohio caused by a train derailment, and here's what that looks like. For context, this train car was filled with about 500,000 kilograms of vinyl chloride, which, by the way, is extremely toxic, and when burned, it releases hydrogen chloride and carbon monoxide, two of the most toxic chemicals for wildlife and humans. And as you can see, that's exactly what officials decided to do. They set it all on fire for a controlled burn. Here's how that went.
Russell Murphy is referring to the fish now belly up in Leslie Run. He and his wife noticed them last night, barely 48 hours after the fiery derailment 5 miles away.
Out of the ground. Can you come here? Let me just show this to people. I don't know if you're going to see this on camera, but watch this. Just see that chemical pop out of the creek. Wow.
Look at all that.
Look at it.
It's all in the bottom of the creek bed.
So birds are falling dead out of the sky, animals are dying, and now the total death count of wildlife has passed 43,000 and their own president refuses to help. Now, on top of all that, these tragedies are coincidentally happening all over the US and the world. It seems to be derailment after derailment, chemical spill after chemical spill, and massive fires like this are happening at factories and facilities every other day. Coincidentally, this is happening in all the areas that have the most private-owned farmland that Bill Gates wasn't able to buy. Seeing the pattern yet?
The Earth might be bigger than we thought. For years, people have debated over the shape of the Earth, if it is round or flat. Now, this might just all be a conspiracy, but what if the Earth had more than just 7 continents? And Antarctica was just a giant ice wall that kept us from seeing the rest of the continents? What if once you made it past the ice wall, you'll find the 20 continents that are really being hidden from us? And what if there was a map that showed this? There are theories that these continents contain prehistoric animals, aliens, and advanced civilizations, and that the 7 continents that we are living in is actually a giant farm or business owned by a small handful of families that make up the filthy rich in the real world, or in the other continents that we don't know about. That is why
they said that they're bringing back the woolly mammoth.
I want to know how, and I want to know why.
The reason how they're gonna do it, right? They have woolly mammoth DNA, they defrosted. The closest relative to woolly mammoth is the Indian elephant. So they're gonna combine that DNA, add it with some, genetics and like that, and they're gonna put it in an Indian elephant, and that Indian elephant will birth a woolly mammoth. And they said by 2027, they're gonna let them loose in like Siberia.
Let them loose?
Yeah, they're letting them loose. The reason why is because they're trying to see what happens if they bring back like fauna into society again that has been extinct. I think they bring back the dodo bird or something like that.
You know what they're trying to do though? That's how they started this Jurassic.
Bro, that's what I'm saying.
So like, oh yeah, let's bring it. Woolly man, oh so nice. Look, the dodo bird is such a nice bird. Oh, and it gives us this. Oh my gosh, the eggs taste so good. Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Now look,
bro.
we have a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It can protect. No.
But like, I was thinking, right? Did they test this out on something? Like, have they been testing this for years and now they're just talking about it now? Because I know the CIA does a lot of weird. Like, imagine, like, all the little things that people see in the woods and like that. Imagine those are all like test subjects that just got loose.
Check this shit out because giants are real, and I'm gonna show you exactly why. A long time ago, everything grew a lot bigger because of oxygen levels. We read about them everywhere. They're in the Bible, they're on old maps, and they're talked about in almost every single culture. In the early 1900s, there was hundreds of articles coming out that people had found giants. This one was even reported by the New York Times. These reports were coming out all the time as new land was being developed. But the Smithsonian, they had their fingers in all of these reports, and they made sure that they were all handed over to the museum so that they could do their proper research. But they were never talked about again from the Smithsonian. In Egypt, there are hundreds of hieroglyphs talking about giants. Even this one here of a giant carrying blocks to the pyramid. But if they were ever discovered, they were covered up. This is a map of Africa in 1562, and right in the middle of it is giants, with the words Tierra de Patagones, which means land of the giants. And this picture isn't too far from Egypt. The Bible talks about giants 32 different times. These giants were the descendants of fallen angels, known as the Nephilim. Even the famous explorer Ferdinand Magellan found them.
I got this story I wanted to tell you. It happened in Germany, it happened last year. It's about this girl. She's 23 years old. I don't know what was going on with her, but I guess for some reason something was happening in her family and she just wanted to like run away or something. And she wanted to fake her death.
Oh shit.
Her and her boyfriend, they start going through Instagram and shit like that, trying to find girls who look like her.
What?
And their plan is to
way.
kill someone who
That
looks
looks like her?
Yeah, and fake her death. They're scrolling through Instagram, and I guess she ends up messaging like 5 other girls or something. But none of them really reply back to her, like girls who kind of look similar to her. I think she was texting damn near like influencer girls and shit. So she ends up finding this girl. I don't know how to say her name. I think it's like Khadijo. And she texts her pretending to be some like rapper guy or someone who worked for this rapper like out there in Germany or something. She ends up texting the rapper guy somehow, like DMing him on Instagram and asks him like, yo, is this real? Like, is this like a real message and shit from you?
Yeah.
And the dude tells her like, nah, that shit's not real. Like, that's just fake. That didn't work. So they text her again. Pretty much made like a deal with her to like set up a meeting to like give her like beauty products and shit. They go one day and they go pick her up and they take her to this forest and they stab her like 50 times.
What the
And they completely
This is what they call the Illuminati bloodline. Yes, this is all facts. You didn't know Barack Obama is Dick Cheney's 8th cousin, and he's also George W. Bush's 11th cousin. See Princess Diana in there, Madonna in there. It's a lot of people who are related in the industry that we don't know. That's how they get these positions, and that's how they're plants in the industry. This is an article from CBS confirming that they are all cousins. I'm gonna show y'all this just to show y'all an example how people of power go to great extents to stay in power. Now, this is Charles II of Spain. Notice the jawline is disfigured. That's from inbreeding. Believed by inbreeding, they are able to keep their bloodline strong.
So this is the zombie fungus, aka cordyceps. Oh god, so Last of Us is real? Oh, very much so, just not for humans. Should have been called Last of Ants, am I right? Lol. Haha. But no, seriously, cordyceps is the mushroom that turns ants into brainwashed zombies and eventually makes them explode. You want to know how it affects humans or ants first? Oh, ants for sure. I'm curious. Okay, but disclaimer, it is nasty. So cordyceps infects ants just like it does in the game, by releasing these spores into the air that enter the cells of any ant unlucky enough to be around. When it first enters the ant's body, it will infect multiple individual cells that don't work together. But over time, as they multiply, it begins to form a hive mind inside the ant's own body, just like in the game. Okay, that's horrific. Oh, I haven't even told you the worst part. After they've established themselves in the ant, it will start killing off neurons that give the brain control of the body. This way the cordyceps can now use the ant like a puppet. But the ant itself is unalive now, right? Oh no, the ant is still very much in the driver's seat. It just has no control over the wheel. Oh, so it's just a prisoner in its own body until it unalives. Indeed. And then the fruiting body of the cordyceps will pop out of the ant and release more spores and continue to infect more ants. A vicious but necessary cycle of nature. Hold, necessary? How many times do I have to tell you, son? Everything is connected. Different species of cordyceps specialize in infecting different insects. This is a moth, I think. But anyway, this is nature's way of keeping the microanimal kingdom in balance. Yeah, but nature doesn't have to leave the host conscious the whole time though, does it? Nature is one cold motherfucker, man. You should know this by now. So if that's what it does for insects, what does it do for humans? Oh, that's a completely different story. People call it Himalayan Viagra. What? It's used as a supplement to boost energy and arousal by optimizing your lungs' access to oxygen. Sounds great, but is there any chance that it could, I don't know, infect me? Lol, nah. Our body temperature is way too high. Unless a strain of cordyceps mutates to withstand higher temperatures one day, then we're all fucked.
3 crazy conspiracy theories that people actually believe. 1. April is the government's blood sacrifice season, and during this month the government performs sacrifices to the demon god Baal and then later disguises these sacrifices as tragedies. 2. Prince Charles is a vampire. Prince Charles might have descended from Vlad the Impaler, who was the inspiration behind Bram Stoker's Dracula. 3. The moon does not exist and it is only a hologram created to fool everyone on Earth.
One of the most eerie ones was when Bill Gates was being questioned about it.
He's dead now.
He said he's dead now, so you have to be careful. What the fuck does that mean? Sweep, sweep.
Yeah.
That's all done.
And by the way,
let's concentrate on Ukraine now.
Yeah, nobody actually believes he killed himself. I haven't met anybody left wing, right wing, center, apolitical. Everybody's like, that's kind of sketchy. I don't think he killed himself.
He didn't.
Yeah.
Michael Baden, that famous autopsy doctor, the guy who was from the show Autopsy, he has never seen anybody with those injuries.
That's right.
And that those
Yeah.
injuries were of a person who was strangled.
Yes.
And that the broken bones in his neck were indicate of a ligature strangulation. The area where he was strangled was low on the neck, which is not where you get when someone's hanging by their own weight, which is higher on the neck because your body weight is dragging it down. He's like, that was someone who got strangled.
And the security cameras were magically not working.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe back in the days there was ancient civilizations that was more advanced than us?
100%. I feel like a lot of them were based in Mexico and Africa, especially like in Egypt. They were way smarter than we even thought. Like math, way smarter.
I get you. I asked that because there's supposedly a ancient civilization that's been like kept secret or been erased from history, because if we find out about them, then it changes like our whole way of like life. So basically there was a civilization where they figured out how to create free energy, and they think that civilization is the people that made like the Great Wall of China, the pyramids, or help people create like that. But supposedly there was a secret organization or a secret like group that was controlling the rest of the world. They was like profiting off of energy, so they had to destroy that civilization because it was messing with their whole plan of controlling.
I feel like like the ancient economy, because money is the root of all evil.
That's why I'm saying, like, I feel like they're trying to tell us like, oh no, we're the smartest that we ever been in life. I don't think that's really the case for real.
The Tartaria mud flood theory is a controversial hypothesis that suggests a catastrophic event took place in the 18th or 19th century, resulting in a massive flood of mud that covered entire cities and wiped out entire civilizations. According to this theory, the civilization of Tartary, which was once a powerful empire that covered a large part of the Eurasian continent, was destroyed by this event, and its existence was deliberately erased from history by the ruling elite. One of the main pieces of evidence cited by proponents of the Tartaria mud flood theory is the presence of mysterious buildings and structures in various parts of the world that seem to be older than the officially recognized timeline of human history. These structures, known as megaliths, are often made of large stone blocks that would have been impossible to move and erect using the technology available at the time they were supposedly built. Another piece of evidence cited by proponents of the Tartaria mud flood theory is the strange architectural features found in many old buildings in Europe and elsewhere. These features, such as strange windows and doorways, seem to have no practical purpose and are unlike anything found in modern architecture. Proponents of the theory argue that these features are remnants of an older civilization that was destroyed by the mud flood. There are also claims that the Tartaria mud flood theory is supported by geological evidence. Some researchers have pointed to the presence of sedimentary layers in certain regions of the world that seem to indicate a massive flood event took place at some point in the past. Other researchers have claimed that the soil samples from various parts of the world contain high levels of unusual substances, such as iridium, that are typically associated with meteor impacts or other catastrophic events. Proponents of the Tartaria mud flood theory argue that the mainstream scientific community has ignored or deliberately suppressed this evidence in order to maintain the status quo and avoid acknowledging the possibility that there may have been an advanced civilization that was wiped out by a natural disaster. They also argue that the ruling elite have deliberately erased the memory of Tartary from history in order to maintain their own power and control over the population.
What I'm about to show you might be the biggest cover-up in history. But why? It all started when the Grand Canyon was going to be established as a national park. So this explorer, G.E. Kincaid, wanted to be the last explorer for all of its gold. As he was going down the river, he noticed a massive set of steps. So he followed the steps up and it led him into a man-made cave. And inside the cave were tons and tons of drawings that weren't English or Native American, they were Egyptian. In his journal, he wrote about how detailed the cave was inside. He estimated that 50,000 people could easily live inside of it. He found tons of artifacts. He didn't know what he had stumbled upon, so he sent his notes and artifacts to the Smithsonian Museum. The museum sent back 40 researchers to see what he had found. They discovered massive Buddha statues like the ones that we see all around the world, and metal working shops, which puts them way ahead of their time. They ended up finding thousands and thousands of rooms, so they sent back to the museum to see if they could explore the canyon even more. But the request was denied, and G.E. Kincaid was never heard from again. There's over 1,000 man-made caves in the Grand Canyon, and only about 30 have been explored. The rest have been blown up, or guarded with massive steel doors.